With the murder mystery quest here and finished, many of us have been left feeling like we want more. So today I'm bringing you 10 things that you, me, and all of us probably missed on our first go at the murder mystery quest. I guarantee there is no one out there that caught all of these clues on their first attempt. By the way, boys, I noticed that everyone's numbers are down in the month of October, not just mine. Go look on Socialblade if you don't believe me. So if you enjoy ERLC content from your favorite creators, even if it's not me, don't forget to like and turn on all notifications. I told myself I would never be that guy to self-promote on every single video, but hear me out, boys and girls. The channel is hurting for some love right now. Okay, so the first thing I'm sure we all missed during the first go is the inconsistency with Detective Sirius. Detective Sirius appears to be the one to initially inform us about the case and ask for help, which is cool and there's nothing weird here. However, if you go to the first crime scene, you'll find him out in the field right next to the body. Again, not necessarily a red flag because he could have called from the field, but as soon as you get to the second crime scene, there he is again, except this time, he's the only one at the crime scene. I don't know about you guys, but I think this is a little sus. Speaking of clues and crime scenes, I've read your comments and I've heard your struggles, you guys. If you're still having a hard time completing the quest, don't forget that you can set a waypoint to every scene and every clue with the exception of the footprints and the blood splatter. Every other clue is basically given to you. This is why I said in one of my previous videos that this quest requires little to no investigative work and little to no effort. Moving on to number 3, do we all remember the ambiguous remark made by Detective Sirius once again when he says, "See if you can find any more clues around here"? Well, it turns out that if you somehow figured out that you already had a UV light or that you would be needing a UV light this early on in the quest, you would have found blood splatter in the living room, but that's not all. You would have found blood all over the bedroom and once again right outside the home, both at the top and bottom of the steps leading up to the front door. That's a heck of a lot of blood, and surprisingly enough, that's not even all of it. You'll see as we continue down this list. Once you're done inside the house and collect the ammo casings, the footprints outside the house will appear. For those of you that were telling me I'm a blind moron, number 1, you're mean, but number 2, finding the ammo casings needs to be satisfied before they even appear. So while yes, I still did miss them in haste, it wasn't completely unreasonable for me to have missed them, especially if it was at night combined with all my excitement. Over to the 5th thing that you probably missed is the fact that once you collect the ammo casings, 5 different possible assignments become available. At this point, you can follow them in whatever order you like. From all the videos I've seen though, it's funny to see that we all sort of went a logical left to right, top to bottom sort of order, but again, this is not mandatory nor an obligation to successfully complete the quest. As a matter of fact, if you watch my speedrun video, you might recall me saying this. And I also think I would have been a little bit more strategic about how I handled the Officer Gomez situation. In any event, let me know if you're one of the rare ones that did not follow the left to right, top to bottom order, and if you were able to capitalize on being more strategic with your investigative efforts in the comments below. The 6th thing I know I definitely missed is over the wooden bridge. By the time you get here, you will see the footprints and the blood splatter at the same time. It's up to you to essentially determine which one you want to investigate first. Same rule as before, the order doesn't matter, and as long as you catch them both, you'll continue to progress through the quest. The thing I did miss, however, which I'm sure many of you did as well, is the blood at the bottom of the bridge. We can clearly see a pool of blood here and then blood leading over the railing, but if you come to the bottom of the bridge, you can definitely see some additional pooling or perhaps even the point of impact, meaning that David's head or body bounced off the rocks and into the water. Oof. A bit of a rant here, but is it interesting to anyone else that all the clues sort of follow a logical order or are part of the mystery because it ties in with another clue? All of them with the exception of Cletus. We're told he's a witness, but whose witness is he? Who determined he had credible information, and how credible is his information? Let me elaborate because this brings me to number 7. When you get to the camera station, we're told that the cameras confirmed the suspect drove over the wooden bridge. However, if we examine the cameras carefully and acknowledge that none of the cameras pan, tilt, or zoom, at least not at the player level, then the assumption can be made that the cameras are all static, meaning they don't move. And if such is the case, camera 1 looks at the city center parking structure with no wooden bridge in sight. No opposing argument can be made here. Camera 2 looks at part of the civilian spawn and the road leading up to the city park. No wooden bridge here. Camera 3 looks at the news building and part of civilian spawn. No argument about a wooden bridge here. Camera 4 looks at the strip that leads to the hospital and jewelry store. No wooden bridge here. Camera 5 looks at the exit coming out of civilian spawn toward the repair shop. No wooden bridge here either. Camera 6 looks just outside the corn maze and toward the green field with the left side of it just slightly out of view for the wooden bridge. We'll come back to this camera at the end of this. Camera 7 looks at the housing track. Camera 8 looks at the hospital strip that leads to the police station. This is not the wooden bridge. Camera 9 looks at the road just outside the gun store. Camera 10 looks at the outside of the electric plant toward the police station. If the police station were not there, then we could make a very weak argument here that we could see the wooden bridge, but because it is, no wooden bridge can be seen. Camera 11 hangs from the city center parking structure and out toward the police station. No wooden bridge here either. Camera 12 looks at the back of civilian spawn. Camera 13 looks down the street from the news station and looks towards the city park. Camera 14 is just a different angle on the strip that takes you to the jewelry store, similar to camera 4. Camera 15 finally presents a theory that the body could have been observed being washed to the banks of the river, but still that does not tie to the wooden bridge in any way. Camera 16 watches the outside of the jail with a very nasty tree covering a quarter of its viewpoint, which is irrelevant because no wooden bridge can be seen here either. Camera 17 is just a city center, and camera 18 is a city park viewing the corners of all major streets coming out of the city. Where's the camera that caught the murderer going towards the wooden bridge, bro? In fact, it would be easier for me to make the argument that he could commit the murder without being caught on camera versus being caught on camera strictly based on camera locations. I will yield to the argument that the murderer probably took the road right outside the corn maze where the camera would have caught his activity. But even still, I think it's a stretch to say that the camera confirmed him driving towards the bridge. Okay, enough about cameras. The 8th thing you probably missed is that you can drive around with the UV light on. I don't recommend it because it's actually rather challenging, but truth be told, that's how I found the rest of the blood marks. I got curious and I basically did a lap around the map with the UV light on. Oh well. The 9th thing I 100% missed, particularly because I'm not a SpongeBob fan, is that the murderer, Mr. Hash, otherwise known as a hash slinging slasher, is a play and run off SpongeBob. It's no coincidence that the graveyard has 2 additional references, such as the Smitty Werbenman Jensen tombstone and Squidward's hopes and dreams, but honestly, I don't get it. What's the joke here? What's the story? Is the hash slinging slasher someone that vowed to end SpongeBob and company? I don't know. Please let me know in the comments below. And the 10th thing that most of you probably missed, and I actually didn't, I had this in the back of my mind, believe it or not, is how the evidence markers are used. And this is actually 3 different points in one, but 12 things you probably missed is not as catchy as 10 things you probably missed as a title. So did you all notice that there's evidence markers where the body washed up, but no evidence markers in the bedroom where the blood, money, and ammo casings were found? If anything, the markers by the banks of the river aren't really marking anything. So what's up with that? And continuing with the evidence markers, we can see markers 1, 2, and 6. Where the hell are markers 3, 4, and 5? And why is Detective Sirius looking at marker number 6 so intently? I don't know, you guys. All of this is kind of sus, to be honest. I have some theories about what really happened, and I'm not really convinced we caught the right killer. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want to see a video about my alternate endings. And also, just a minor detail here, and this isn't even a point, but when you get to the end of the quest and decide to go be a civilian, you can still return to the gun store and interrogate the gun owner as if you were still a police officer. Again, this isn't a point on the list, just something I thought was funny. Well, boys, be honest, how many of these did you miss during your quest? It doesn't shame me to say that I missed 6 of these on my first attempt. I really did. Anyway, don't forget to show the channel some love, and until next time, long live the Zanies.